In April, when the Washington Post broke sort of private comments by Prime Minister Trudeau about saying that Canada would never reach the 2% spending benchmark of NATO, the 60 sort of luminaries in the defense sector wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister urging Canada to take defense priorities more seriously. And I think that going forward, this is a level of conversation that our country hasn't had for a long time around the need to fortify defense and take Canada's role in the world seriously from a geopolitical perspective.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because as you said at the outset, we really haven't had to, but we're in a very changed geopolitical environment, right?
Absolutely. You're seeing how Russia has essentially broken a decades-long taboo about territorial grabs by force. You're seeing ascendant China. At the same time, the protectionism, whatever you want to call it, a retreat from globalization in the form of friendshoring, nearshoring, that is creating trade frictions between countries where there previously was none, and politics is determining economics more so than ever right now. And I think that we're going to see the effects of that going forward more than we have in the past decades.
Interesting. You mentioned in your writing that this means something for venture capitalists as well. Tell us a little bit more about what you're saying about that.
So, a piece I recently wrote for the Center for International Governance Innovation, I argued that a lot of these dynamics that we've been talking about mean that you can expect to see venture capitalists pour a lot more money into companies and firms producing autonomous weapons technology. Three factors here are the retreat from globalization, as I mentioned, coming through protectionist measures, ruptures in global trade as a result of political tensions, but also decarbonization and demographic change in China and elsewhere leading to inflationary risks becoming systemic in a way. And so with interest rates higher, the end of cheap money, venture capitalists are now moving away from sort of long-term bets on the limitless growth of digital platforms. And they're moving towards investments that can offer returns on shorter timelines. And two of the things that are growing in attention and also focus for the investment sector are artificial intelligence and defense. As we talked before, the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute recently put out a report saying that military spending hit 2.2 trillion last year. That's a historical high. As we talked about before, NATO members are spending a lot more money on their militaries. So as money and attention is going towards how artificial intelligence can be built into defense platforms, a lot of these companies could see exponential returns on their investments by VCs. And that is an area to look for going forward. And whether or not that changes the discourse around the utility and ethics of autonomous weapons technology.
Yeah, that actually preludes my next question, which is talking a little bit about some of the ethical issues around machine learning military tools. Maybe take us through that a little bit.
Definitely. So there hasn't really been a bigger staple of science fiction over the last several decades than the killer robot, whether it appears in Terminator, Blade Runner, The Matrix, you name it. It's a theme that's been repeated over and over again, the fears of a lethal robot. But a lot of that dystopian sci-fi sentiment is actually coming to bear thanks to advances in machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotics, visual recognition as well. Machines are now able to navigate complex environments more so now than they ever have before. And that's playing a role in how militaries are focusing about their next generation of warfare and how these spending levels are going to build out their forces in the coming years. And there's lots of players from different perspectives just taking a look at how to integrate that within their forces.
Can you give us a couple of examples?
So the US right now has about 700 AI projects, military-focused AI projects on the go. China itself has poured spectacular amounts of money into developing their military. Russia as well experimented with unmanned vehicles and robotics in the Syrian civil war. I've mentioned China, but India as well. Israel, Turkey as well has become sort of a preeminent manufacturer of drones, autonomous drones technology. And in March 2020, the UN expert report says that they possibly may have, tested a live autonomous robot for the first time in Libya as a result of backing the UN recognized government there. So
Right.
it's hard to get a sense. It's not like nuclear weapons technology where you can sense from afar that these
Sure.
things are being developed, but there are rumblings of a lot of different actors experimenting and really putting a lot of money into it.